Matsatsing ana, ho na le mesebetsi e mengata lefatshe ka bophara. Mesebetsi e meng e hloka hore re be le bokgoni bo itseng. E meng e hloka hore re be le thuto le mangolo a itseng. Bohle re sebeletsa ho fumana lekeno, hore re kgone ho iphedisa, mme re hlokomele malapa a rona. Le ha re sa kgole tjhelete e tshwanang le ya batho ba bang, kaofela ha rona re hloka ho nka boikarabelo ba maemo a rona a tjhelete. Ho sa kgathalatsehe hore re kgola bokae. Ke ka hoo ho leng bohlokwa hore re ithute ho etsa rands with sense. Ra le amohela lenanehong le re tlisetsang dikeletso tse bohlokwa hore re tsebe ho fumana botsitso maemong a rona a tjhelete. Kajeno re bua ka ho ntlafatsa le ho hodisa tsebo le bokgoni ba rona hore re fumane mesebetsi e kgotsofatsang. Haholoholo ha o le motho ya sebetsang mesebetsi e boima, empa o kgola lekeno le tlase. Ka Senyesemane, mesebetsi ena e bitswa mesebetsi ya blue collar. Mesebetsi ena e akaretsa mesebetsi e kang manufacturing, mining, construction le mechanical maintenance, jwalo jwalo. Mesebetsi ya blue collar hangata e lefa ka dihora. Fela hona le batho ba kgonang ho lefwa ka kgwedi, ka ntle le ho bala dihora tseo ba di sebeditseng. Hangata, ha o hloki ho ruteha haholo ho sebetsa mesebetsi ya blue collar. Se se bolela hore bongata ba basebetsi ba blue collar ba kgola tjhelete e nyane e sa kgotsofatseng.
A blue collar worker is somebody who would typically work with their hands. So it would be your factory worker, your mine worker, your government worker who does a technical job and actually works with their hands. They would be called blue collar workers. You get three kinds of blue collar worker. You get your unskilled, your semi-skilled, and then your skilled or trade-tested artisan kind of worker.
Blue collar would be described as anyone working as an artisan or an unskilled labor. It comes from the traditional sense where people would have to wear a overall to work that usually was blue. Unlike my blue shirt right now, the white collar would have been the office type employee.
There's a number of industries looking for employees. You've got your factories, you've got your municipal contracts, you've got your building trade, you've got your mines. There's a number of industries looking for your blue collar workers. How I find it works is really the lower the skill, the more people apply. The minute you start reaching your artisan, your trade tested artisan level up, your applications are less. Especially when it comes to your senior trade tested people. There's actually quite a big skill shortage in our country of trade tested artisans. So if I'm looking for a millwright or a plumber, I might get no applications on my first one or two adverts I put out there. There's definitely a lack of good trade tested artisans. So the lower the skill, the more the applicants. And if I put in a general worker position, I might get as much as 300-400 people applying for that kind of position. So it's really dependent on the skill.
Mesebetsi ya blue collar hangata e lefa ka dihora. Fela hona le batho ba kgonang ho lefwa ka kgwedi, ka ntle le ho bala dihora tseo ba di sebeditseng. Hangata, ha o hloki ho ruteha haholo ho sebetsa mesebetsi ya blue collar. Se se bolela hore bongata ba basebetsi ba blue collar ba kgola tjhelete e nyane e sa kgotsofatseng.
Well, how you differentiate between the three different levels of blue collar worker would be basically the unskilled worker would be somebody who has not learned a trade or a skill, and they are used for labor. So your general worker or your laborer. Your semi-skilled would be somebody who has a skill, a technical skill, but does not have a trade test, and would generally assist your trade tested artisan. And then your trade tested artisan is somebody who has a N2 or N3 has done an apprenticeship with the company and has passed the trade test and has what's called the red seal or trade test certificate.
Ka kakaretso, ma-Afrika Borwa a sebetsang mesebetsi ya blue collar ba wela tlasa sehlopha sa batho ba kgolang lekeno le tlase. Ho fumana lekeno le tlase ho ka thatafatsa bophelo ba hao, ebile ho ka tlisa kgatello maemong a hao a tjhelete.
With regards to the different kinds of blue collar labor that you use, there's quite significant differences in earnings. Your unskilled general worker or labourer would typically, in manufacturing, be earning about 25 Rand an hour, 25 to 30 Rand an hour. Your semi-skilled worker would be earning, 35 to 45 an hour, and your skilled worker or your trade-tested artisan would really be earning anything from 85 to 120 Rand an hour. You do get guys that earn more because, as I said, there are skill shortages when it comes to trade-tested artisans. So there are people who earn more, who fall in the 120 to 180 range even. But the differences in remuneration between an unskilled person and a skilled person are quite vast.
Ne re batla ho tseba hore maemo a tjhelete a batho ba sebetsang mesebetsi ya blue collar a eme jwang. Ke ka hoo sehlopha sa rona se ileng sa ya mebileng ya naha ya rona ho utlwa ha batsi ka sena.
I'm struggling right now, but with the money that I get, I'm staying at Lokshin, so I'm trying to save it a little by staying at Lokshin. I don't use transport, so it's quite easy for me that way. I earn 1.7 a fortnight, and it's about 3.5 a month.
Ek verdien so tussen 6 en 7.000 rand 'n maand. Al lewens is 'n bietjie min ons inflasie en alles. As 'n bietjie moeilik om te survive.
Apha emsebenzini ndisebenza uklina nosebenzisana kunye nabantu ngokuqhuba umsebenzi ubheke phambili. Nge-fortnight ndirhola u-1,500. Mina nje imisebenzi endikwazi uyenza kakhulu imisebenzi ye-gardening service. Uklina igadi, ukwenza amablomu, zonke ezo zinto. Noklina nasefemini apho ndisebenza khona ndandiklina ndisenza yonke into ne-gardening service yakhona.
Batho ba bangata ba qetella ba etsa dikoloto hore ba tsebe ho phela hara kgwedi. Mme sena se tlisa kgatello le ho feta maemong a bona a tjhelete.
A month, I think I spend something like 2,000 for my stuff and stuff, rent, food, my basic needs, everything, yeah. Sometimes I do have debt, sometimes I don't have, but most of the time with the money the little that I earn, it's always that I'm having debt. Yeah, sometimes I do have debt. I go borrow machonisas, but I don't do the machonisa style right now because I don't earn a lot.
Re kopile setsebi sa rona hore se re hlalosetse ka mathata ao basebetsi ba blue collar mona Afrika Borwa ba teanang le ona.
Right, with the blue-collar workforce, I mean, things are slightly different, as most of them, as we know, are currently really struggling in debt. And the reasons behind this, it's not a case that they've gone and overspent to a certain extent, but because your white-collar workers do the same thing. However, it does affect them greater simply as they don't have that additional surplus income. So when things like your electricity go up, your petrol, transport costs, etc., it has a massive effect on them. And therefore, they sort of land up in that sort of debt trap.
There's quite a few pressures on the South African working class at the moment. Things like debt, living expenses, inflation, the fact that things cost more year on year. And of course, unemployment is another massive issue. Inflation is one of the big problems facing the South African market at the moment and the South African consumer at the moment. What happens with inflation is the way that things go up year on year. A basket of goods will cost you 100 Rand this year, but next year it's going to potentially cost you 115 or 120 Rand. One of the problems with inflation for the South African consumer is that basket of goods that goes up year on year, their salary doesn't keep pace with it. So what would happen is this year they'd be able to buy X, Y, and Z, but then next year they won't be able to buy X, Y, and Z. They can only buy X, Y, and Y, and having to give away some of the staples that they needed to buy. A pressure that the South African consumer has at the moment is that there's a perception that they don't earn enough money. The way of overcoming that impression is to actually budget according to your income. Not the other way around. Don't say, I need to earn X amount. Rather say, I earn X amount, let me work my budget out according to that. The slowing of the South African economy also has a knock-on effect in terms of people's increases. So, because the economy is slowing down, people tend not to get the salary increases they could potentially have got a few years ago.
When I started working here, I was getting paid 500 per week. Then they changed it to be fortnight. I was getting 1,200 per fortnight. After I was a shift supervisor, I was getting like 3,200 per month. Then afterwards, they promoted me to be a shift manager. Then I'll start getting 9,000. I'm struggling with this 9,000 because it's not enough. I have to pay 3,000 rand for rent, and I've got 2 kids. One I must pay 1,000, and another one I must pay 700. And at home back in Zimbabwe, you know the situation in Zimbabwe. You must pay food, everything. There's no work, there's no money there, so they are looking on us.
Matyala nawo mna kuba yonke into kufanele ndiyenze edibene nemali into ehamba nekhetshi. Uba nawo lo khetshi ukuthenga loo nto andiyema ndingayithengi ndiqokelela imali. Endlini siyakwazi ukuqhubeka nobomi. Kuyo yonke into esiyenzayo siyazilungiselela into yoba singazifaki ematyaleni kuba siyazi uba sisebenzi. Le mali sinayo ilingane lo micimbi yethu sifuna uyenza.
Ho sa kgathalatsehe hore re sebetsa kae, ho hodisa bokgoni ba hao ha mmoho le tsebo ya hao ho molemo ka ho fetisisa. Ha re kgutla papatsong, re ithuta ka ho hodisa bokgoni ba batho ba etsang mesebetsi ya blue collar. Mme re bona hore ma-Afrika Borwa a ka una moputso jwang. Re le amohela hape lenanehong le ho rutang ho etsa Rands with sense. Kajeno, re bua ka kgodiso ya tsebo le bokgoni ya batho ba etsang mesebetsi ya blue collar. Le hore sena se ka tswela ma-Afrika Borwa molemo jwang. Hangata, mesebetsi ya blue collar ha e hloke mangolo a thuto e phahameng. Mme sena se bolela hore o ka lebella ho fumana mokgolo o monyane. Na ebe ma-Afrika Borwa ana a ka etsang ho fumana mokgolo o bonahalang hore ba tsebe ho fumana botsitso maemong a bona a tjhelete? Engwe fela tsela ya ho etsa sena ke ho ntshetsa pele bokgoni ba hao ka ho ithuta. Ho ithuta le ho hodisa bokgoni ba hao ho ka ntlafatsa monyetla wa hao wa ho fumana mesebetsi e lefang tjhelete e bonahalang. Mme sena se ka hodisa tsebo ya hao hape. Re ile ra botsa batho ba etsang mesebetsi ya blue collar ka bokgoni ba bona le hore ba nahana eng ka kgodiso ya bokgoni ba bona.
Die skills wat ek het, skills wat ek geleer by 'n EPWP projek, 'n NYS projek wat die government aan ons wat op konstruksiewerk gee. Ek het 'n paar jaar terug het ek teelwerk, pynwerk en so 'n bietjie plumbing en so het ek geleer plastering geleer by 'n NYS projek en dit het my gehelp om na die job na die werk te kom om 'n job te kry want ek glo as jy nie skills het nie, as dit moeilik vir jou om 'n werk te kry by enige konstruksiemaatskappy as jy kom na hulle toe, hulle wil eerste ding wat hulle wil weet is wat kan jy doen? So met die skills wat ek by die NYS projek opgedoen het, was nie vir my moeilik om 'n werk soos die te kon gekry het nie. Van die vaardighede wat ek daar geleer het my eintlik gemaak dat ek die werk gekry het.
I think a major problem with our workforce is they go into a job because they need the money and they have no plan. They have no future plans or structure they work to better themselves. I think that in any job, on any level, there should be some kind of plan in place to up your skills, up your salary, and grow within a company or industry.
I had thoughts of going back to a college or university or something, But then I just changed my mind as soon as I got a job and earned a decent salary. And I just changed my mind and kept on working. Skill development is very important, especially to, like myself, I don't have any qualifications, so that will come very in handy if it's being given to us.
When I started here, I was earning like 2,500 a month. But when I get a forklift license, it upgraded my salary. So I get a storesman license, it's also upgraded my salary. So I can say I'm growing from here. Right now, I'm a qualified forklift driver, and I got a little bit of experience as a storeman as well. So that's money. I'm building on my experience as a storeman. I used to be a waiter and stuff, but now I'm building experience. So now it's almost a year now I'm building experience as a storeman. My dream is to go back to school and become an animal health doctor, like I always wanted, like my father was there. So that's what I still dream. I still dream to get a good job so that I can work hard and maybe one day I will be like that.
Esikolweni zandiye mina sangikhona nix endake ndayifunde ngayo pha engenye ngaphandle kwento zomsebenzi. Nobangela ndinyanzeliseke into yoba mandizazi ezinye izinto ukuba ndifuna ukukhulisa abantwana bam, ndifuna abantwana basekhaya bangahlupheki. Kwindawo ndikwazi banceda kuyo ndikwazi banceda. Abantwana bam bakwazi uba nabo babe nobomi oburayithi for into zesikolo.
Okay, to improve your chances of getting a job, the minimum requirement I think would be to complete your grade 12, or if you know that you're going to go the technical route, do your N3 at a technical high school, an N3, specialize in what you want to do, your fitter N3, your electrician N3, your plumber N3. Maths is a must if you want to go into a trade. Most trades you require a certain level of maths. Another good thing would be to have a look up front at what trades are available and maybe start gearing your education up towards those trades that are available or sectors that lack skills. For instance, plumbers. There's a huge shortage of plumbers in our country. If I place an ad for a plumber, it's often I get no response at all. There are just no plumbers available, trade tested plumbers that are available. So have a look at the market, see what's out there, see who advertises a lot, see which apprenticeships are going because they are becoming scarce, and maybe gear up your studying towards a skill that's sought after in the market.
Le dibaka tse ngata mona naheng ya rona tsa ho ithuta le ho hodisa bokgoni ba rona jwalo ka maAfrika Borwa hore re tsebe ho ba le bokamoso bo tjhatsi. TVET e emetse Technical Vocational Education and Training. Ha re utlwe hore ba sebetsa jwang.
Sinama colleges siwabiza ukuthi ama TVET colleges now before bekuwa ama FET colleges. Lapho sitraina kakhulu intsha uma khona amaningi afunwa zenkampani ngaphandle your artisan, your engineering, your motor mechanic, your carpentry, your bricklaying, yonke lo msebenzi electrician, yonke lo msebenzi enjalo efunwa i-industry.
Traditionally, the college sector were referred to as technical colleges. This, over the last 10 years, advanced to a category termed the further education and training colleges. And in the last 2 to 3 years, our Ministry of Higher Education and Training, to make our colleges comparable with colleges abroad and in the international sector, has termed the clause technical and vocational educational and training. Thus, the renaming of the 50 public colleges in South Africa to be TVET colleges. There are a number of private colleges. We subscribe to the National Department in the Western Cape. We have 6 TVET colleges, and across South Africa there are 50 public TVET colleges. The TVET sector comprises of 50 colleges in all provinces in South Africa. In the Western Cape, we have 6 TVET colleges spread 3 in the urban areas and 3 in the rural areas of the Western Cape. Therefore, the 6 colleges would cater for the majority of the communities. There is no reason for any person in South Africa not to have access to a public TVET college. In many instances where students have to travel to get to college, most of these colleges have residences and they are supported with a financial grant that covers any traveling expense that a student might incur.
Dit is baie maklik as in het algemeen 'n ou wat nou nie vaardighede het nie. Sal mens nou 'n bietjie minder verdien as vir die ou wat 'n bietjie experience en vaardighede het. Hy sal 'n bietjie meer en die werk is ook bietjie swaarder. Vir die ou wat 'n gewone leibe is. Wat nou nie wat die vaardighede het, so is bietjie moeilik vir daai ou. Geld is minder, die werk is meer.
Sifake imali ke as a department through NSFAS so that youth kungabi nepressure yemali ukungena kuma colleges. Kumanje ama numbers they are somewhere above 800,000 across the country. Kodwa sinama SETA ama Sector Education Training Authority as in a partnership with companies ngokwama sectors. Sinekwa wholesale and retail, mining and so on and so forth, finance. So abantu abasha sibathatha straight lezo companies ba train for 12 months, bethole experiential training, babhala ama test, benze practical ngokusebenza on a daily basis and we pay them stipends for that 12 months. After 12 months the baba certificated, bethole certificate would they know this job. For 12 months they've been doing it practically and they've passed the theory and then they get employed.
A rona mme ho hodisa bokgoni ba rona ho ka re tswela molemo haholo. Re tswela pele ka taba ena ha re khutla papatsong. Ha jwale haeba o batla hore ditsebi tsa rona di o thuse ho atlehisa ditoro tsa hao, etela website ya rona ho randswithsense.co.za kapa o etele leqephe la rona la Facebook mme o re phetele pale ya hao. Ha o batla ho ba moeti lenanehong la rona, o tlamehile ho ikemisetsa ho hlaha televisioneng ka pale ya hao. Haeba o ikemiseditse ho etsa sena, o ka iphumana o le moeti mona ho Rands with Sense. Ena ke Rands with Sense. Lenaneho le sa tshabeng ho bua ka mathata a tjhelete le ditharollo tsa ona. Ka jeno re bua ka ma-Afrika Borwa a sebetsang mesebetsi ya blue collar le hore ba ka hodisa bokgoni ba bona jwang ho ntlafatsa maemo a bona a tjhelete. Kaofela re a tseba hore ho fumana mesebetsi ha ho bobebe. Na ebe batho ba etsang mesebetsi ya blue collar ba fumana mosebetsi jwang?
Okay, I find that a lot of people out there don't really know the channels to go through to find work. You know, the government tenders, municipal tenders, advertise in the newspapers on a Sunday, the blue collar jobs and the white collar jobs. But I think a lot of a lot of people don't understand that, you know, recruiting blue collar workers has moved away from the newspapers and has moved into what's called job boards, you know, your career junctions, your job indexes, your IOL online, you know, electronic job boards or recruitment sites. I think these could be better utilized for blue collar workers. And then, you know, also the agencies or recruitment agencies have become a big part in blue collar worker contracts and permanent work. So, there are agencies out there that do specialize in blue-collar workers. Also agencies out there that specialize in skilled blue-collar workers, artisans and engineers. Those agencies are always looking for people to fill contracts. We advertise on job boards, and most agencies also advertise on their personal websites as well. So there are different avenues. I do think the blue-collar worker in the past has been used to looking in the newspaper for jobs. I think they need to download most of the job boards on their cell phones. There are apps, and just keep an eye out on actual job boards for blue-collar work as well. There is a lot out there. Earlier today I was on job boards looking at what was available for blue-collar workers, and there's a lot of work available on these job boards for blue-collar workers: artisan positions, engineer positions, setter positions, operator positions, and general worker positions. I think that the blue-collar workers need to go out and upskill themselves in terms of actual seeking employment, and this can be done through looking online.
The SETA is a sector education and training authority, which has also been a component of the Department of Higher Education's agencies that looks at skills development within a specific industry area. We have a very close working relationship with the MERSETA, which looks at all of the industries that focuses on manufacturing. And we run a number of programs on behalf of those SETAs. Those qualifications, whether they are learnerships or skills programs, are then authorized by the appropriate SETA, accredited, and the potential candidate will get certification from that particular SETA. So it is possible for somebody that has not achieved the academic requirements to be able to come and study at a TVET college to get the recognition for prior learning via a sector education and training authority, which can be the benchmark to commence their studies to do further qualifications in the future.
Ho tswa ho rona ho etsa tsohle tse matleng a rona ho lokisa maemo a rona a tjhelete hore re tsebe ho fumana tokoloho maemong a rona a tjhelete.
Dit is baie belangrik om vaardighede op te bou. Ek het groot planne vir die komende jaar, want ek glo ek wil meer ingaan in veiligheid. Ek wil veiligheid, ek wil safety officer. Op die oomblik is ek veiligheidsverteenwoordiger. Ek wil safety officer. Ek wil auditing doen. Ek wil site visiting, South consultant, consultancy. Dis die tipe ding wat ek wil volgende jaar in my future vorentoe wil doen. Ek dink wat my finansiële status se hulpstoot aan gee, as ek 'n bietjie nog meer vaardighede gaan leer, safety officer word, auditing doen, gaan ek mos 'n bietjie meer geld verdien. En dit sal 'n groot hulpstoot wees vir my finansiële status.
There's a lot of people out there that are not making it financially. People out there in the workforce, blue-collar workers. I think those people need to have a discussion with their HR officers in the companies they work, and most companies, private, government, all sectors, mining, automotive, have HR managers on site or available to talk to. I think those people need to go talk to their HR officers and just see if there is some kind of career plan for them. A lot of companies offer study grants that could become available to these people. Upskill yourself, do as many courses as you can. The more you upskill yourself, or the more courses or studying you do, the more value you add to the business, the more you earn. So, you know, there are options. It's difficult. It's difficult because without the money to study further, you kind of get stuck in a position. So if you're willing to better yourself, there are companies out there that do offer sponsorship or provide funding for studies.
Ho hodisa bokgoni ba hao ho ka o thusa ho fumana mosebetsi o kgotsofatsang le mogolo o bonahalang. Ebile sena se ka etsa hore o be setsebi lefapheng leo o sebetsang.
I think to have a skills it's better because once you have something to hold when you're looking for a job, and for that skills you can earn better than when you don't have skills. So it's a good thing to have skills.
The new student-centered approach model of NSFAS requires of the potential student to apply for the bursary in October preceding the year of study. NSFAS will then inform the applicant of the success or the decline of the application in November of the year preceding the academic year. If the student is successful, NSFAS will also inform the applicant of the amount that has been allocated for tuition, travel, as well as accommodation. The Department of Higher Education and Training prescribes the entrance criteria for all of the ministerial programs that is offered at TVET colleges. The college itself, via its academic board, can also institute additional requirements. It is evident year on year that the demand is greater than the supply, and therefore in many instances, even though the colleges would want to work on a first come, first served basis, the academic performance of that particular applicant would be critical when the college decides on the limited number of students it can accept for a particular program.
It might seem that because someone earns little money or what they perceive to be little money, there's no hope. There actually is. Work your way through it, start upskilling yourself, and actually start working towards that promotion. One of the ways that someone can increase the income is to actually further their career. There's a number of ways that lower income people can do that. Look at skills developments in their own companies. Look at a mentorship program in their own companies. See if there's not maybe a bursary application or a bursary process in their companies so that they can further their career or further their studies that way.
We are proponents of recognition of prior learning, even though it's very difficult for a TVET college to give any applicant credits to a national qualification. The way this has been overcome recently is that if somebody is employed in a particular sector and that company has got a relationship with the specific seater that governs that particular industry, there are a number of programs that the colleges offer on behalf of that seater that gives recognition to prior learning, which makes it possible for the TVET college to test that person's ability and for the seater then to accredit the outcome of that assessment and for the person to get a comparable qualification under the seater's accreditation.
Well, njenge-Department Higher Education and Training, njengamanje, sikhulumisana ne-industry, onke ama-employers, ukuthi akwazi ukuyoqasha ama-students aphuma kulama colleges. Enye into esiyenzayo njengamanje sizovula ama-offices ama-SETA kuwo wonke ama-college ethu. so that ama-students aqualifyayo enze unyaka wokugcina agraduatayo siwathathe through SETA program ayokwenza le program esibizwa ukuthi experiential exposure kwi-workplace for 12 months which is unyaka, so that ekugcineni bekwazi ukuthola experience and then beqashwe ama-industries. Sekuqalile ukwenzeka already, and ama-student ama-graduate aphuma lapho awuthola umsebenzi very easily ngoba asene-practical experience and ane-vocational background from i-college ngoba i-college is less theoretical but it's more vocational. Wenza a lot of work ngezandla kwi-workshop kwi-industry, so lezo zinto zenza ukuthi beqasheke kalula.
Ho a kgonahala na ho boloka tjhelete empa o kgola tjhelete e nyane? Ha ho utlweng ka sena ha re kgutle. Re le amohela hape ho Rands with Sense, moo re lekang ho fumana tsebo ya ho laola tjhelete ya rona ka makgethe, hore re tsebe ho fumana tokoloho maemong a rona a tjhelete. Kajeno, re bua ka batho ba etsang mesebetsi ya blue collar mona Afrika Borwa, le hore ba ka etsang ho hodisa bokgoni ba bona hore ba ntlafatse maemo a bona a tjhelete. Ho hodisa bokgoni le tsebo ya hao ke ntho e molemo, haholo jwang ha o etsa mesebetsi ya di blue collar. Sena se ka o tswela molemo haholo, hobane o ka kgona ho kgola tjhelete e bonahalang, ebile o ka kgona le ho fumana mesebetsi e kgotsofatsang. Ho ka ba thata haholo hore basebetsi ba blue collar ba fumane botsitso maemong a bona a tjhelete. Na ebe batho bana ba sebedisa tjhelete ya bona jwang? Me ekaba bana le ditoro dife?
In my life, I don't have any debt. I'm a strong believer. My dad always taught me that debts, that's not a good thing to be in. And so, yeah, I just took that and carried on. I believe in if I want something, I have to pay cash for it or just stay without it. One of my biggest dreams is to become my own boss one day. Yeah, and in order for me to do that, I'm gonna have to save up some money. Not some money, but loads of money. And I think I'll probably start in the next year, start to save up some money in order to work towards my dream.
Ek dink as jy begroot, die budget begroot, dink ek dat 'n bietjie makliker maak vir jou om te gaan. Ek het 'n vrou met 3 kinders by die huis. So soos almal weet as die lewe maar 'n bietjie duur in terme van kinders en kinders aan die lewe te hou, hulle moet skool toe gaan en alle tipe dinge. Dit is 'n bietjie moeilik, maar op die oomblik hier ons apartment by een van 'n auntie se huise wat hulle het 'n ekstra huis hier op 'n apartment daar. Skuld is eintlik een van dinge wat ek van hou nie. As ek my huur betaal het en my 2-3 kleurrekeningkies wat ek het, ek dink daai is genoeg vir my want ek kan manage om daai te kan doen. So ek wil nie nog verder aan 'n groot skuld toe gaan of loans by 'n bank gaan maak en seker tipe van dinge. So ek dink as ek dit nog gaan doen, gaan dit vir my baie swaar wees om te kan survive.
Yes, for the credits, we do manage. Like for clothes, you can't just buy clothes straight. I have the accounts from Mr. Price, Mr. and Edgar's. And I do have this account because I see if I want to buy clothes cash, I can't afford it. So I just put like 200, 100 rand, it's like a banking. Then when it's a bit more, I'll go and fetch clothes for myself and the kids. I'm scared of the credits. Because when you take a big credit, they'll follow you every time. So when I know that I earn little, I don't need to take big credits because I know I'm not going to pay it.
Into endenzayo mna bhuti wami ndisala kanti ndizixelela uba ndingumntu ongenamsebenzi osisixhenga permanent. I don't have a permanent job. So what I'm trying to do, kusente nesente endiyifumanayo ndiyibeke ebhankini. For in case bangabanqanthe ngabe namali then ngikwazi bangamali othatha lo send le because andifuni ukwenza i-loan ezawuend end up in cost ngomso ngakwazi afford ukuyibhatala.
As for myself, I do like that what they call khoi khoi. So when I do khoi, the next time when they give me, it will be a better money, so I can do something which I can say, I did this for this year with my money. Not for myself to just say I'll save it. I can't.
Well, from a stockpile, it's almost like a savings account to a certain extent, where let's say you have 12 people in a stockpile and everyone contributes 100 Rand, right, per month. So in the first month, that's 1,200 that is suddenly gathered, and that is given to one person. And then the following month it's done again, and that's given to the next person. So in effect, after 12 months, they would have actually saved 1,200 Rand, which is now available to them. So it's a nice way of saving things, but obviously you need to work with people that you can trust.
Even though you don't earn a lot of money, it does seem that there's no hope or something like that. There is actually. The worst thing that you can do is say, there's no hope, I'm going to give up. Start budgeting properly. Start work through a little guidelines. Put a goal in place. Start working towards that goal. And in a couple of months' time, you would have attained that goal. But stick with the goal and stick with the plan.
Right, for blue-collar workers to really improve their lifestyle financially, it's very important for them to start working on a budget. Now, a budget, it sounds very simple, which it is. It's something that you really need to stick to. So number one, they need to work out what is their income, what are they paying for food, what is their rent, what is their water, what is their electricity, school fees, etc. That's what is number one. That's your number one priority. And then the rest, they can then work out what they need to pay on their loans, etc. But they need to stick to the budget. As soon as you fall off that budget, then you know you're still going the wrong way. So it's so important that they do stick to a budget.
With the salary that a person has, they need to ensure that that goes as far as possible. The way of doing that is by means of budgeting, making sure that you look for discounts and avoid impulse purchase. Avoid buying big ticket items just because it looks good, or avoid buying an item because your neighbor has it or your cousin has it or something like that. Rather budget for items and make sure that your spending is within your budgeting.
Now, when setting up a budget, right, what it does, number one, it actually refocuses you and lets you realize where your money is being spent. So often we sort of get our income and the next day we look, we've got no money left. We already know where it's all gone. So it's important to write it down so you can see exactly what your money is being spent on. This then gives you the power to actually realize what needs to change within your life in order to better that for yourselves and your family.
Ha ho kgutla papatsong, ho utlwa ha batsi ka sena. Ena ke Rands with sense. Lenaneo le ratehang ka ho fetisisa mona ho SABC2. Kajeno, re shebana le melemo e tlang le ho hodisa bokgoni, haholo ha re tla ho mesebetsi ya blue collar. Re kopile ditsebi tsa rona hore di re fe tlhahiso leseding.
I firmly believe that there shouldn't be any constraint for anyone to improve their current situation. The opportunities are available. The qualifications and programs that are offered at public TVET institutions can be accessed either via the sector education and training authority options or by virtue of your schooling qualification that you have, or it can be within the environment of the practical training that colleges are offering with regards to the competency-based modular training, which is the component that makes you suitable to be employed directly with industry.
And for those out there that don't have money to study and are in blue-collar jobs, do your best, give it your all. Your employers will recognize that you're doing more than you need to, or you giving more effort than you need to. So, if you're not busy, take on something new. Go to your employer and ask him if there's any more value you can add to the business. Maybe he'll see your potential and, give you an opportunity that you never had.
kubalekile ukuthi abantu bakithi bebuyele esikoleni befunde ayikho age limit kwimfundo ukuze bekwazi ukuketch up bekwazi ukuthola imisebenzi bebe competent kwi-economy esibhekene nawo yezwe. Si-department ke senza indlela eningi sizokhanda even manje ama-community colleges azokwazi ukutraina even abantu abangakwazanga ukuthi beqhubeke nokufunda ukuthi bekwazi ukufunda nearest ngasemakhaya. Lokho esasikubiza ama-adult learning centers, we're turning them into community colleges ukuze abantu abadala beqhubeke beyofinisha o-matric bekwazi ukutraina beye phambili beye kuma-university ukuze betraine bethola ama-skills beqasheke ku-industry. So ilezo zinto esiyi-encourageayo kubantu ukuthi befunde imfundo ayikhulelwe.
I would like to encourage each and every one of you to consider improving your current situation based on my own personal journey, where I started with a mere Standard 8 certificate, managed to get a tradesperson qualification, a degree at the local university, and ultimately to become the CEO of a leading TVET college in South Africa.
Re se re fihlile qetellong ya lenaneo la rona la kajeno. Ebang le rona hape bekeng e tlang, ha re tswela pele ho le tlisetsa ditsela tsa ho etsa rands with sense. Ke nna Mmarona Kgwele. Salang hantle.